everyone. Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. This is about saving money on family vacations. And what I'm really hoping to get from people in this, and share your comments on this, is what do you do or what have you done, especially if you're older like me, your kids are all grown, and what did you do to save money on family vacations but still be able to have a good time with your family? Not just a good time, but a time of, well, of refreshing, of getting to know each other better, good wholesome stuff that everybody could benefit from in some way. And the reason I ask that is because I can only go off of my own experiences and what we did. Because we didn't spend a lot of money on vacations, but every year we took our kids and we went somewhere. And I'll get into that. What we did not do was ever once go out of the country or to Disneyland. Now, I am not here to put people down for going to Disneyland or Disney World or taking international trips. If you can afford to do it, and that's what you and your family, if they're old enough to actually understand and remember the experience, if you can, and that's what you really want to do, sure, I absolutely don't have a problem with that. Here's one thing that, listening to a lot of these different financially based podcasts. And so a lot of these clips will have people talking about their trips to Disneyland. In fact, there was one video that was just all about different people's trips to Disneyland and how much money they were spending. And we're talking a minimum of $10,000 to $15,000 on one trip. This might be 2 or 3 days. 10 to 15,000. And that was the minimum. Some people, quite a few people, were spending $35,000 to $40,000. Now, I think some of you might have been here. I think it was last week I was kind of talking a little bit about this, and Tyler brought up, it was either last week or the week before. And he said that when he took his kids to Disneyland, it cost him $50 for a day. $50 got them in the gate. It paid for their food and all the rides. It's not like that anymore. $35,000 to $40,000 for a couple of days, and you're taking little kids and they might not even remember. So as one of the things that Zach does when he's this young man, not Zach from American Homestead, this other Zach, one of the things he does when he's putting these videos together is he'll read some of the comments under those videos where he's kind of going over. And several people were talking about how, I went to Disneyland when I was 7 and I don't remember anything about it, or 4 or 2. They're, especially those younger ages, they're not going to remember. So you spent that kind of money because you want your kids to have these great memories, but they don't remember. But I tell you what, I think they're going to be, they're going to remember a lot more. Maybe not specific details. Let me share what we did. Every year down in Oregon, our family, it was mostly my siblings, my dad, they would organize a family reunion in the summer. And we did invest in a camp trailer, which was, let me tell you, was a really nice investment. And guess what? It didn't cost near the amount for that one trailer that we used a lot as it's costing people for a single weekend at Disneyland or Disney World. So there's that. We'd usually take about 2 weeks off. And part of that was just driving down to Oregon, stopping and seeing some other family on the way, stopping and seeing, going to a museum here, seeing this special little site there. Some of these things were free. Some of them were very, very inexpensive. Like we went to Mount St. Helens, had not been there since I was 14, summer before the mountain blew the very following spring. So I was there in 1979. And that was the last time I'd been there. And so we thought, hey, this is kind of right along the way. Let's go to Mount St. Helens. And it was very cool. I was going to bring this bowl in. I did make a really, what I saw at the time, a very expensive purchase, because I saw this beautiful green kind of fluted bowl, glass bowl that had been made from the ash. I spent $25 on it. I kept feeling so guilty about it, but guess what? I still have it. I'm still glad I have it. When you see what people are spending on stupid little trinkets at Disneyland, it's way more than that. It's way more than that. But that was a rare. I usually never bought anything like that. But I really wanted that bowl, and I'm still glad I have it. It is so beautiful. It was handcrafted. But that, again, that was a very rare thing. The other thing we did where I did spend a little bit of money was when we stopped we were in Tillamook, that we went to the Tillamook cheese factory. We got ice cream, but there's also a great air museum, and they had these really nice coats that looked like pilots' coats. It had patches all over them. And the boys were going to need coats anyway. So I bought them coats there. So there's their memorabilia. And they were nice coats. I mean, I think we might have spent $50 a piece, which seemed like a lot of money at the time. But to me, it was worth it because it was the memories, and it was a coat that they needed because it was summertime. They were outgrowing their coats from last winter. It was perfect. It was a way I could have something that was useful as well as have something to remember that trip by. And we camp out. A lot of times, guess what? We weren't even camping in actual campgrounds most of the time. We were either camping, except for the family reunion. A lot of times, if it's just we got to make a stop for the night, guess where we camped? Walmart parking lots. Except for you can't do that on 101 along the Oregon coast. They made it so the last time we tried that, there was none. If it's along the coast, no overnight camping at the Walmart parking lots. But we did that, and we saved a lot of money because guess what? Even back then, when the fuel prices weren't what they are now, it still cost us a lot of money to pull that trailer all the way down to Southern Oregon and then come back. And then, the rest of that time too, besides the family reunion, we got to spend a lot of quality time with the cousins, the brothers, the sisters, nieces, nephews, parents. It was always a great time. These were real memories. These were real memories we created ourselves with the people we loved. Not going off so we could take pictures of, oh, I got these stupid mouse ears that cost me $50 because they got glitter on them or whatever. Real memories. And as a kid, my best memories was camping with my family and playing in the sand and on the beach or at the lake or wherever it was we were camping, sitting around the campfires, and that smell, that campfire smell. You guys know what I'm talking about. You smell that smell. If you've ever went camping, it's such a comforting, wonderful smell. I need a campfire scented candle. It's so calming. Whenever I smell that, sometimes my wood stove will smell like that, and immediately, you know how the olfactory glands are. They're the best for really stirring up old memories. And I can remember being 6 years old, 5 years old, camping with my brothers, building sand castles, poking sticks in the fire, going out and gathering sticks just so we could whittle them into swords and fighting each other with them. Fun fighting, but I'm surprised we never really got hurt. These are real wholesome, healthy memories that your family, your kids will cling to. Even if they don't remember all the details, there's going to be something that's going to stay with them, that wholesome time. Not running, not waiting in lines for 2-3 hours just to get on one ride because that's all then you had time to do that day because the wait time was so long. Oh, awful. I can't even fathom how awful that would be. I would absolutely despise that. Here's one of the common excuses I'm hearing people, these young people that are taking their kids to Disneyland, the common excuse. Well, I just want my kids to be able to experience more than I did because they might have grown up in a home like I did. I never even asked to go to Disneyland because I knew that was, even back then, was out of our price range. That would be an unaffordable thing. I'd hear my friends talk about it, and I remember for a while as a really young kid, I really wanted to go, and then the older I got, the less interested I was in it because we made great memories without all that nonsense and all that expense. Just can't see doing a Disney vacation or any other. I keep talking about Disney. It could be any of those. And spending that kind of money, and how I know I would be stressed to the hilt. I know I would be if I went to one of those and took my kids. And so the whole trip would have just been, for me, would have been a horrible experience. And what are my kids going to remember? They're going to remember mom being really stressed out. Doesn't sound like a great family time to me, personally speaking. Now, I will say that, we had the wild waves here in Washington State. It wasn't a massive theme park like Disneyland or Cedar Point Park, which I've actually been to. Any Ohioans there? I've been there once. And I was like, man, I have never been there since I added all this other stuff. Let's take the kids. And we decided to go in with my sister and her family and some of our friends so we could buy a whole pack of tickets and save a lot of money. And even then, I think it was only like $11 a ticket for the day. I hated it. Now, when I was a teenager, I went as a teenager. Oh, I had a blast. As a parent, with all those people, and it's not near as busy as these other places, I hated it because everybody kept getting scattered. I'm worried about everybody. Justin was only like 3 or 4. He was too young and too small for a lot of things, or even too scared. And there was another little guy. My nephew was with us. I was mostly watching them, and everybody else was going in 50 different directions. And I was freaking out the whole time because I don't know where everybody is. I felt it was my job to be the shepherd or something. Where is everybody? Okay, where are they? Okay. What? Oh. It was horrible. I said, I'm never doing that again. We had so much more fun just spending time with family camping or driving around and visiting family. And you didn't even really have to put them out because you either had your own tent. Because one time, before we got that, and before we even had kids, Patrick and I had a tent, and we were heading down to visit family, just to visit family, not to do anything fancy. We went all the way down to Northern California to visit some of his family there. And on the way, we stopped, kind of surprised my dad, visited him in Oregon, but we had our tent. It's like, you don't have to house us. We'll just set up a tent in the yard. No big deal. And you can do the same thing with the trailer. You don't have to I don't like surprising people usually. I don't like doing that, but you don't have to put people out when you have your own home with you. So that's one of the nice things. So, I mean, if you're going to invest in something, invest in a good tent and sleeping bags, or go the step up if if you need to, and go with we started off with a used camp trailer. We got a really good price on it. Patrick fixed it up. It was really cute. I especially loved what he did with that tiny little shower. He fixed that thing up really nice. We did end up trading it in and getting something bigger eventually, but just because the kids are growing and we needed more space. But I still miss that little trailer because of the work he put into it to make it really nice in there. And again, fun memories of those times. Even the stuff that was kind of frustrating, like having to pack all the bicycles, because at the time we had a van. We didn't have a truck with a bed that you could put a lot of stuff like that in. So the bicycles and all that kind of stuff had to get packed into the trailer whenever we went anywhere. We didn't have a bike rack. But you know what? That was just part of it. It was just part of it. And still, you're working together and you're making good memories. And I just think it's far more worth it than feeling like you have to spoil your kids because you didn't get that when you were a child. Your kids are not going to be better off than you if you go into debt, because that's what these people are doing. And that's the main point of this. They can't afford these things. So they're going into debt. They're literally taking out loans, second mortgages, or what is it, line of credit against their house, or getting numerous credit cards and charging them up just to make sure that their kids have good memories. How good are those memories going to be when you can't afford to put food on your table or pay your light bill? And so to me, it's really disturbing to see how people are willing to do this. And you know what a lot of it is too? It's all about making those TikTok videos and those Instagram videos for the clout. I was going to talk a little bit about the food. So that's something else we did, is we hardly ever ate out. I'm not saying we never did, but we certainly didn't go to fancy restaurants. But most of the time what we did was the whole week ahead, I would be making foods that we could take. I'd be making some homemade breads, spaghetti, chicken salad, sandwich spread, chili, things that we could easily put in a cooler before we had a camp trailer, we're tent camping, or we could put in the fridge in the trailer and work on that. And then if we ran out of food or we got bored with what we had, we could stop at a grocery store along the way and buy the ingredients to make something in the trailer. Hamburger patties, making the hamburger patties. You can keep them in the freezer. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do. You can make your food ahead of time and take it with you. And so if you got hungry, like we'd pull into a Walmart, like middle of the day, we're hungry, let's have some lunch, pull into a Walmart parking lot, open up the windows and doors and make ourselves a chicken salad sandwich and just rest for a bit, get back on the road. And those were good times. I mean, yeah, a parking lot or a rest stop. Sometimes we'd stop at rest stops and sleep there. You're allowed to do that for up to 8 hours, I think it is. You don't have to go into debt to have family time. And you know what? If you don't have family to go visit, you can't even afford the drive because fuel is so incredibly outrageous and you don't want to waste your money on an electric vehicle that's not going to take you far without needing to be charged and having it take hours to charge it. Stay close to home. We live in a beautiful place. We live in a place that people come from all over just to go to our rainforest, or to go to the ocean, or to see the twilight garbage. Oh, the joys of living in Forks. But even before that, we had tourists coming through here a lot because it's such a beautiful area. A lot of times people were on their way to go see the rainforest and go visit the different beaches. And we can just make a day of it. You can go to the lake. There's a couple of lakes. There's the river. And then there's the beaches. You don't have to go far. And then even in Squim, there's the Olympic Game Farm, which I have to admit I've never took my kids to. I kept saying, oh, we need to take kids there one day. And I'd always forget. But we did take our kids. We went out to Port Townsend, where Fort Worden is. That's where Officer and a Gentleman was shot. And that's not far. It takes maybe about 2 hours to get there. And that can be a fun thing to do for the day. And it doesn't have to cost, I don't think it costs anything other than the drive. Or, you know what? Camp out in your own backyard. Make memories in your own backyard. You know what? It can be fun. I can remember one time we all decided to camp out on the trampoline on a hot summer night because it was too hot to sleep inside. Let's all sleep on the trampoline. And it was nice sleeping out there up off the ground and being able to look at the stars. In fact, when I was a kid, I used to do that. I live in Wenatchee, where we didn't get rain like we do here. 10 inches annual average rainfall compared to 120 inches annual average rainfall is a massive difference. But I spent a lot of summer nights as a girl just sleeping out under the stars in the backyard. I loved it. I loved it. I loved being able to just sleep in the backyard and stare at the stars and fall asleep to that. Good memorable times don't have to break the bank. And not only empty your pocketbook, but and your bank accounts, but puts you deep into debt. And now you're in the hole. So middle of August, we create our own family event down at that other piece of property. People bring their tents, they bring their camp trailers, whatever they have. We camp out. This is going to be the biggest year yet. I cannot believe. I think all my siblings are going to make it this year for the first time, unless something comes up. So I'm pretty excited. Nieces, nephews, there's going to be a lot of people there. We're going to actually rent a Santa can and then a washing station. And then we bought a 15-foot trampoline. Haven't had a trampoline in years, and we don't have room here anymore for it because of my garden. So we bought one that we're setting on the lower part of the lot where if it gets windy, we don't have to worry about the wind picking it up and carrying it because it's kind of surrounded by trees and it's really pretty down there. And so there's that. So the kids will have that. Patrick made all those swings. He's got 3 different swings that he made and hooked up to the trees. We got the tether ball he put in a few years ago. We had to get a new ball, but that's pretty inexpensive. But even with the costs that we're pouring into this, because we don't have to make the trip, I feel like it's worth it. And that's probably the same amount of money we would spend on fuel driving anywhere between the trampoline and the renting of the Santa can and the wash station. And we have a lot of activities set up there. We've just kind of been building on it over the years. What else? Oh, Patrick put in a zip line a couple years back. So we got the zip line, we got the horseshoe pits. He put those in. He built those. Oh, we have the volleyball / badminton. Of course, we got the beanbag game. We have that, but usually somebody else brings one too. So usually there's 2 or 3 sometimes of those out there, which is fine because then you can have a bunch of different people playing their own little game. And then my sister has a few great outdoor games that she likes to bring. And so there's just a lot of stuff. We got Tonka trucks and the red rubber balls for the kids to kick around. And the wagon. We got a wagon for them to go bombing down the hill. And then the sides of it's got little sides. And they all go flying off when they get to the bottom of the hill because there's one place where it's pretty steep. And then Patrick also we've got the tractor out there. And he has like a little flatbed trailer. And so he'll have at least at one point load all the kids that want to do it into the back of that trailer. And he gives them a ride all around the property. Just drives it all around. So we have plenty of great activities and we have a great time. It's not fancy. I mean, we do try to add more to it every year and just because we appreciate the family making the long trip to get here. And we want them to keep coming back. It's just hard for us now to go anywhere because we have a garden and we have chickens and there's just too much to take care of. Oh, we got the creek. Let's not forget the creek. Kids can go splash around in the creek too if it's warm enough. It's funny, just even the investment we've put just to make things nice there is nothing near what people are paying to go on these really expensive trips. And I tell you, it's definitely worth it in that way. And so I think people just need to change their focus. Stop worrying about thinking your kids have to have something better than what you had. Did you go camping as a kid? Did you love it? I always loved it. Then your kids are going to love it too. And like I said, I think the thing they're going to remember the most is the fun that you had laughing together, enjoying each other's company, visiting with family, and seeing the cousins that you only got to see once a year. So anyway, love you all. Thanks for coming in as always. Take care and God bless.